So to start, you're going to place down a bunch of different colored hula hoops, and you're going to have them roughly evenly spread out throughout the playing area. Then you're going to throw in your players. Okay, not actually throw them in, but you know what I mean. You're going to have to start at a certain spot. And this game is kind of a mixture between your musical chairs and your board game Twister. So you're going to need some music, and as the music's playing, then the players are going to be moving around. They can be busting a groove. Derek calls it big dance party. So as the music's going, they're moving, and once the music stops, then the players have to stop, and then the teacher's going to call out a command. So for example, left foot green, which means the players then have to try and get to a green hula hoop and place their left foot in the green like they would in Twister. And once the music starts playing again, of course, the players would be moving around doing their, and this would actually be a good, if you want, you could also do this with your transport skills. So galloping, hopping, skipping, so forth. And when the music stops, and the players stop, and elbow in red is going to be called. So players are going to go put their elbows in the red, and yeah, this is a basic idea.
So you're going to start by creating some zones by placing down cones, and on one side is the plant zone and the other side is the animal zone, and in the middle is the actual playing area where all the players are going to be running around. It is a tag game, so one player is going to have the green noodle, and that's going to be the player turning people into plants, and the other is going to have an orange noodle or whatever color that you have, turning people into animals. And on the go signal is so easy. The players are running around. If somebody gets tagged and turned into a plant, they have to go into the plant zone and wait there till the round's over. It doesn't take very long. And so we see the animal tagger has turned someone into animal. They go into the animal zone. And so we just imagine the game's all done. All players have been caught, and we see which team has the most is the winning team. So the plant team has won this round, and that team will then get to decide how many of an exercise the other team has to do. So 10 tuck jumps. It could be 10 push-ups, 10 jumping jacks, whatever it is they choose. The other team has to do it, and then you choose new players and taggers and all that kind of stuff.
So to start, you'll place the lily pads or hula hoops along the floor randomly so that they're all spread out, and you're going to split the students up into 4 different groups, and they don't have to be even numbers because it's not a competition. I'm sure there are ways you can make it a competition, but we won't get into that. And basically, as a teacher, you're going to call out a pattern, so an order of colors. So red, blue, yellow, blue, green as an example. So students have to remember that pattern, and then they're going to have to run in that order and to the lily pads. So they'll be running all at the same time to go to red, to blue, to yellow, to blue, to green, and then back to their groups. And then that's it for that round. And then you can either, as a teacher, call out another pattern, or you can make a rule like the first team to have all their members back get to choose the pattern or something like that. You can also do this with skipping and galloping and hopping and those kinds of skills. And you can also put down some skipping ropes, and every time they run into a skipping rope, they have to jump over it or whatever have you. So, and that's the basic idea for this game. So we have a center circle here that we're going to use, and you're going to create some teams. In this case, we have 4 teams with some cones as their starting points, and you can have more teams if you'd like. And you're going to put all the tennis balls or bean bags in the middle, so you're going to need a bunch of them. And each team's going to get a bucket as their storage container. So you're probably getting the idea already here. The teams on the signal, the first person line is going to go like relay style. They're going to grab a ball and run back, place it in their bucket, go to the end of the line, and they're going to keep going until all the balls are gone and see which team has the most at the end. And that's it for the idea. I've also seen where people use some scooters, so you can have each team with one scooter and they can scoot themselves and pick up a ball that way. You could also try using a hockey stick maybe for the older groups, and they can do some stick handling if they're doing it carefully, or maybe have a baseball glove and they can pick up the ball with the baseball glove, or I'm sure you can think of your own ideas. So what you'll do is you'll have your mats in the corners of the gym, and you'll have students on those mats, and basically that's going to represent animals inside a cage. And you're also going to have zookeepers. So essentially you'll start the game off by telling a little bit of a story that the zookeepers in the middle there, they're finished work for the day when all of a sudden all of the blanks escaped. So you're going to choose an animal. So for example, monkeys escaped. So if they say all the monkeys escaped, then all the monkeys will run out of the cage, and the students will act like a monkey and until the zookeepers can catch them. So if a student or a monkey is caught, then he has to go back into the cage and wait there until everybody's caught. And then you'll do a new round, and you'll of course call out a different animal the next time, and so the students get a chance to try out a bunch of different animal movements. And to start, on one end of the gym, you're going to have a treasure chest, and I use one of those big plastic storage bins, and you're going to fill it with a whole bunch of different treasures, whether that's little toys from the dollar store or different pieces of equipment you have, balls or birdies or whatever it is. And you're going to dump them all out, all those treasures on the floor on that one side.
And on the other side, you're going to have 5 cones or however many cones for relay teams. And I like the number 5, and about 3 players per team. And at the end of each team, you're going to have a hula hoop, and that's going to be their collection area. So they're going to collect the treasures and put them into their own hula hoops in your typical relay style. So when you say go, the first person from each line will run, they'll grab a treasure, bring it back, place it in the hoop, and the next person goes after the high five, or however you like to do your relays. Some of the rules for this game is before the game starts, you'll choose 3 secret treasures, and only you'll know those things. You can write them down on a piece of paper, and at the end of the round, the teams who will end up with those 3 secret treasures will win that round, and the losing teams will have to perform an exercise. So you just tell them, oh, okay guys, I've chosen 3 special treasures. You guys are going to try and find those ones, guess which ones they are. Or you can have it where the team who collects the most treasure wins, especially for kindergartens, grade 1s. That's counting, nice counting and sorting, depending on the color items. You can have whatever ideas that way. Instead of just the running, what's nice too is you can use your basic transport skills, so they can work on skipping, so they have to skip there and back, or galloping, or go forwards one way, backwards way back, or kickbacks or knee highs, or whatever types of exercises you want to do. So in this game, you have your students spread out around the gym. You're going to pick 3 players who will be the taggers and give them a white dodgeball or whatever color, and you'll have 2 players who will be the freers, and they'll have the yellow dodgeballs to represent the sun. And basically in this game, as players run around, they're going to try and tag each other with a dodgeball. So the taggers go, and if somebody gets tagged by the white dodgeball, they need to turn into a snowflake. So that player there was tagged, so it turns into a snowflake. And then the suns go around, and they try and free the snowflakes by melting them. So they go over and melt the snowflakes, so then the player is back in the game. So before class starts, you're going to set up some pylons around the gym, and under about half of them, you're going to place bean bags, so they're hidden from sight. And when the students get there, you're going to form teams and explain to them that the goal of the game is to be the team to scavenge the most bean bags. So they're going to have to go and try and find them. So on the signal, the first person in the line will go and check under a cone, and if a bean bag is there, they get to bring it back to their group. And if it's not, you can put in a rule like the group has to do 5 jumping jacks before the next person goes, or something like that. And of course, you can switch it up however you see fit. So to start, you're going to place down a bunch of hula hoops on the one end of the gym, and you're going to put a bunch of toys in each one of those hoops. And for years, I've had this treasure chest of toys I got from the dollar store, so I use those, but you can use whatever you have. If you don't have toys, you can use bean bags. That'll work too, but we're going to use toys for this example. Then you're going to choose a line that's going to be an appropriate distance away from those hoops, depending on the skill level of your students or your players. So then we have our teams. We're going to do relay style, and each team's going to get a foam ball. And I use different colors so that they don't get confused when they retrieve the ball. And then the last thing is rolling or kicking. So this game works great for rolling, it works great for kicking. So choose one of those. Maybe they can, each student can choose as their turn. Doesn't really matter. It's up to you, depending what skill you're working on. And then, there is one more thing. Before the game starts, I choose 3 secret items. So I've chosen glasses, pig, and robot. Sometimes I keep it in my head. Sometimes I write it on a piece of paper, and then then they go. Those things would be worth bonus points. Then the players are going to try and get those things, collect the toys as the game goes on by getting them into the targets. We're going to look at just one team. We can imagine everyone's doing the same thing at the same time. And the first player goes and rolls, tries to get something and missed. So they would have to go retrieve the ball and bring it back, making sure they don't get in the way of any other balls from any other teams while they retrieve it. They go into the back of the line, next player's turn. The player has rolled the ball and has won the rubber ducky. So that player would go and grab the ball and the rubber ducky and bring it back. And the game goes on and on like that, and to see which team can collect the most toys. And we can just speed it ahead here. And once all the toys have been collected, you can end it there, and of course give the bonus points to those who got those secret items. Or you can also play to collect all the hoops as well. So once the toys are gone, then they got to get all the hoops, depending how long you want the game to go to. So here you see the hula hoops along the floor. You can have anywhere between 10 and 20 depending on your class size, and the students as well, somewhere along the floor, not inside the hula hoops. And you can start with a quick discussion about what personal space means, and how many students they think will fit in the hula hoops at a time, or can the whole class maybe fit in one hula hoop. Have them think about those things, and you get started. So when the music plays, the students will start running around all over the place, just not in the hula hoops. But when the music stops, then they are to jump in the nearest hula hoop, and they can be in there on their own, or 2 of them, or 3, or however many you'll fit.
and then simply you'll remove some of the hula hoops. Doesn't matter which ones, so we've got rid of a few there, and the music will start again. And when the music starts, they start moving around again all over the place. The music stops, then you need to jump into a hula hoop, and again you will remove a few of the hula hoops, and so there are fewer and fewer and more people in the spaces. So the music will play, they'll move around, and when it stops, they jump in, and so you see the idea here until there are just a few left, and the music plays, they run around, and you see how they're getting full there, and you can decide when to quit the game. And that's it for this game.